Hi there, everybody. Welcome to this song study of Gillian Welch's tune, One Little Song, one of my all-time favorite tunes, and it's a great song to study as songwriters, as a song about songwriting. So I'll play it through for you here, and then I'll have some thoughts to share at the end for your own songwriting as you continue on that process. I'm going to be playing in the key of A. You'll see my capo is like capo 2, so I'll be playing G shapes, but be singing it in the key of A. Here we go. There's gotta be a song left to sing, 'cause everybody can't have thought of everything. One little song that ain't been sung, one little rag that ain't been wrung out completely yet. It's got a little left. One little drop of falling rain, one little chance to try again, one little bird that makes it every now and then. One little piece of endless sky, one little taste of cherry pie, one little week in paradise, and I start thinking there's gotta be a song left to sing, 'cause everybody can't have thought of everything. One little note that ain't been used, one little word ain't been abused 1,000 times in 1,000 rhymes. One little drop of falling rain, one little chance to try again, one little bird that makes it every now and then. One little piece of endless sky, one little taste of cherry pie, one little week in paradise, and I start thinking there's gotta be a song left to sing, 'cause everybody can't have thought of everything. One little song that ain't been sung, one little rag that ain't been wrung out completely yet, till there's nothing left. All right, let's chat a little bit about that great song. I want to encourage you to think about songs as patterns, right? That's kind of like a big idea I keep coming back to when I'm writing my own songs and when I'm thinking about what makes a song so impactful for me. I look at the patterns, and in particular, I look at chord patterns, lyric patterns, and arrangement patterns. Just remember, music came from the oral tradition. There had to be a way to organize things in such a way that we didn't actually have to write things down. People did not play from written music. They played through the oral traditions, through the process of learning it. So there had to be some way of coding it together, and I think that's where a lot of these patterns came from. In this particular tune, the chord patterns that Gillian Welch uses are different for the verse and the chorus. I love that the verse is just 2 chords. She starts on the root, the G chord there, or I'm playing the G shape, and then she goes to what we call the 5 chord. The most common, if you're going to have a 2 chord song, it's most likely going to be the 1 and the 5. In the G shapes that I'm using here, it's G and D. And I love how she kind of seesaws back and forth. She kind of hangs out on this melody, on the G chord, until it doesn't fit anymore, right? Everybody can't have thought of everything. That's not going to fit in that chord, so we go to this one. And then she hangs out on this chord until it's time to go back to the other one. If you take a closer look, you'll notice that music loves the number 4 and multiples of 4. In this case, the first group of 8, we have 4 bars of G and then kind of a split 2 and 2, 2 of G and 2 of D7. But then our next group of 8 has 4 D7 chords and then goes back to, again, a split between 2 bars of G and 2 bars of D7. So it gives them a slightly different feel. But it's always important to remember you can make a pattern out of just 2 chords that is really compelling. And you just sort of follow that melody until the chord needs to change around it. When she gets to the chorus, she has a really nice circle going on. So we walk up to the C chord. We would call that the 4 chord in the key of G. Again, I'm using shapes here. To B minor shape, to the A minor shape, and back to G. And what I love about this is it's a circle, so it'll go, we were on the G chord for a lot of that verse. We cycle through those chords. But even so, we repeat it then. After we come to the G, we go back to the C, through the progression, ending on the D7. But there's this kind of circular motion, or perhaps you might think of it as sort of a stair-step feel, because she's actually going backwards in the musical alphabet, meaning sort of lower in tone as she goes from C backwards to B, backwards to A, backwards to G. So it's just sort of an interesting way of organizing those chords as well. Those are the 2 main chord patterns that we see in this tune. Interesting to think about what chord patterns you notice when you work with the songs that you're learning by other folks, or if you're listening. Can you tell how many chords are at play? Even if it's just 2, how is an artist working with just 2 chords? Something to think about and to notice in your own songwriting studies. Now, lyrical patterns are also really fun to notice. Of course, there's always a rhyme scheme for the most part to songs. It's interesting to see what Gillian Welch has done with this one. She's got our standard couplet at the beginning. There's gotta be a song left to sing, 'cause everybody can't have thought of everything. But then she's got some fun internal rhymes, which I'm a total sucker for. One little song that ain't been sung, one little rag that ain't been wrung out completely yet. Got a little left. So we've got some internal rhymes there with sung and rung and yet and left. When she gets to the chorus, she does this thing that I just love, where you have short little phrases. She's got 3 rhymes in a row. One little drop of falling rain, one little chance to try again, one little bird that makes it every now and then sounds a little bit like those, but I think that's actually paired with the next phrase. She does it again, 3 little rhymes in a row. One little piece of endless sky, one little taste of cherry pie, one little week in paradise. And then here comes the final rhyme, and I start thinking, which harkens back to the now and then. So it's sort of these like 3 little rhymes, big rhyme, 3 little rhymes, big rhyme, right? Really fun to notice those patterns as well, and to mimic them. What if you were going to write something to that? What would your 3 little rhymes be with the big rhyme at the end, and then paired with another set of 3 little rhymes and the big rhyme at the end? Something to try, something to notice, and just something to be aware of and experiment with in your own writing. Finally, I always enjoy taking a look at arrangement patterns. This one has a pretty straightforward verse-chorus approach, and I always love when a simple song just hits you very simply and reminds you that it really doesn't take much to write an impactful song. You can just write verses and choruses. I think it's interesting, though. Typically, we would end with a chorus or repeating the chorus twice. The chorus is where we kind of come back to the main idea. It's the same chords, the same lyrics each time. And it's kind of the big idea we want to take away from the song. The verses I think of as telling a bit of a story or offering some variations on this same idea, kind of different ways of looking at whatever the main theme of the song is. In this case, she copies a lot of verse 1 into verse 2. It's just the second half that she adjusts and varies just a little bit. And then verse 3, she comes back to the original lyrics for verse 1 with a slight little twist to the ending. Remember, verse 1 begins, or ends, sorry, with one little rag that ain't been wrung out completely yet. Got a little left. So it leaves us in this kind of unresolved space of the chord that is not the root chord, to suggest, oh, we're going to still go, we're going to continue on with this song. There's still a song left to sing. But when she comes back to it in verse 3, she ends it with one little rag that ain't been wrung out completely yet, till there's nothing left. Back to the root chord, sort of suggesting that this really is the end of the song, even though there will always be another song left to sing. We do have to bring this particular song to a close. So just a slight variation there in verse 1 to verse 3 to close it out at the end. So there you go. 3 different ways of looking at the patterns of a song: chord pattern, lyric pattern, arrangement pattern. What I'd encourage you to do, especially if you're a new songwriter, but even as experienced songwriters, don't forget to listen to songs. When you listen to songs, sort of put those songwriter ears on and think about, what are the choices that this writer has made? What patterns has this writer chosen, and how do they serve the overall impact of the song, or the story that the song is telling, or the idea that the song is trying to share? There are a lot of ways in which those patterns can set up the idea in a really impactful way. And a lot of discovering that in our own writing is seeing how it's been done by writers that have come before us. The last thing you might try as you are noticing things is to try some of those patterns yourself. As I said, copy a pattern, mimic a pattern, take the same structure, but put your own spin on it, or put your own lyrics into a pattern that's already existed, or put your own chord progression into a basic pattern that somebody's already used. It's a great way to play around with these patterns and see what you discover in the process. So enjoy your songwriting, and I'll see you next time for the next song study.